This week on Create, Consume, Repeat, I take a close look at Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, that rare type of game that actually delivers a deeply emotional and unforgettable experience unlike anything seen or felt before in video games, or any other medium for that matter. So stay tuned and learn what makes Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons so groundbreaking. Developed by Starbreeze Entertainment in collaboration with Swedish award-winning film director Joseph Fares, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons opens on a boy named Nai, paying his respects at the tombstone of his dead mother, who drowned at sea while he helplessly watched. We quickly learn that Nai and his older brother Naya must embark on a perilous journey to retrieve sacred water from the Tree of Life in order to save their father, who has fallen ill. Along the way, they encounter obstacles that require them to work together to overcome each new and more difficult challenge, as well as a variety of mythical creatures like mountain trolls, giants, and griffins. Sadly, no hoggle.
Oh, Hoghead.
Or ROUSs.
Rodents of unusual size? I don't think they exist.
Now, unlike most episodes where I avoid spoiling the plot, in this one instance I have to, since it's integral to explaining what makes Brothers so special. So if you don't want to spoil the game for yourself, stop right now and come back once you beat the game. I'll wait, I promise. Along the way, the brothers encounter a monstrous spider that mortally wounds the elder brother, forcing Nai to venture up the Tree of Life and collect the sacred water alone, only to return to his older brother's lifeless body. Unable to revive him, we are confronted with an emotional climax, a sense of loss unlike anything ever experienced in a game. And trust me, this isn't hyperbole. Let me explain. 1. Dark fairy tales leave a lasting impression. I think it's safe to say that tales like Little Red Riding Hood, Cinderella, Hansel and Gretel, and Snow White have a place in our society's collective psyche, having been passed down from generation to generation. Sure, we may not remember the original Grimm's fairy tale versions, which are chock full of sex, violence, murder, mutilation, cannibalism, infanticide, and incest. But that has more to do with our puritanically censored exposure to the original source material and the Disneyfication of these works. Regardless, they are tales of right and wrong. They are clear morals to be drawn. Be wary of strangers. Deception and dishonesty are punished. Honest hard work is rewarded, and promises must be honored. But let's be honest, moralistic lectures never entertained anyone, but gory tales of suspense, well, that's a different thing, with an eternal following. As professor of Germanic folklore and mythology at Harvard University, Maria Todar puts it, they give us these what-if scenarios. What if the most terrible thing that I can imagine happened? But they give us these scenarios in the safe space of once upon a time. I'm going to tell you the story, and I'm going to show you how the hero or heroine manages to come out of it alive, and not just alive, but also happily ever after. Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons employs these same techniques in order to grab our attention and prime our psyches for a meaningful lesson. 2. Disorientation. Starting with the uncomfortable opening where we witness the boy's mother drown, the nonsensical made-up language spoken in the game, the twin-stick controls that require a level of acclimation, and the unfamiliar, fantastical setting, all these design choices, along with the in-game puzzles, work at keeping us off balance and highly focused. One could even call it a gauntlet of disorientation that forces our brains to constantly rethink, reevaluate, relearn, which opens up new pathways to how our brain experiences the game. 3. Neuroplasticity. Brothers, unlike most games, delivers on the promise of video games being an interactive art form unlike any other medium. While most traditional art like paintings, music, and film are passive, video games place us in the role of the protagonist, allowing us the ability to make decisions and propel the story forward. While most games grant us the ability to control a character's movement or make choices from a decision tree, Brothers employs a psychological trick in its game mechanics to achieve a heightened emotional and psychological response unlike any game. Sure, we've had emotional responses in games where we lose a beloved character, like in Mass Effect or Last of Us, to name a few, but these games are still following the conventions laid out by conventional storytelling found in books and film. Sure, we have the ability to make a choice that affects the outcome, but that's no different than a choose-your-own-adventure book or Netflix's
Bandersnatch,
It's an adventure game.
based on the book.
which is pretty awesome. Yet Brothers' implementation of the twin stick mechanic, where each analog stick independently controls a brother, exploits our brain's neuroplasticity by forcing both hands to work as one, and in doing so, a bond is built, causing us to really feel the loss of Naya. Add the clever implementation of haptic feedback in the sticks, and it only heightens that sense of loss.
The rubber hand illusion is a wonderful example of how multisensory perception can influence how we perceive our own body. But what the rubber hand illusion does is show how that can be overridden by visual information.
Yes, science!
This subtle and nuanced game mechanic feels like a work of genius, a piece of interactive art that can never be replicated in any other art form but video games. And yes, other games have implemented novel mechanics like Metal Gear Solid's fight against Psycho Mantis, where you needed to plug your controller into the second player port, or Grand Theft Auto's delayed controls when you drink too much or do too many drugs, or zero gravity matches in Unreal Tournament. But none of these examples are as emotionally and psychologically profound, nor do they heighten our emotional bond to the characters themselves. I'd love to hear your thoughts about the game and my observations, so drop a comment in the section below, but just remember to keep it clean. And as always, hit that like and subscribe button. And if you really like the content on this channel, well, hit the bell and tell all your friends to watch and subscribe, because I need subscribers. Bye.